What's going on YouTube? 63 here. In this video, I want to talk about the 3 different phases of a Call of Duty Blackout match, what expectations you should have in each different phase, and what you should be doing and prioritizing during each of these phases in order to be more successful in a match. Phase 1, the drop. You've picked a destination for yourself or your squad, hopefully one that you're familiar with, and you get there as quickly as possible. If you haven't already seen my other tip video, it explains how to drop quickly and get to where you want to go before everyone else. As soon as you land, you obviously need to find a gun as fast as possible to defend yourself, and if you can find armor as well in the first 30 seconds, that's just icing on the cake. Your first priority should be securing your drop zone and eliminating hostiles as quickly as possible so that you can spend the rest of the time looting before you need to move on to the next circle. You'll notice that within the first 2 minutes after you hit the ground, usually over half of the players in the match have already been killed. Assuming you do not drop straight down from where the helicopter passed by, you should have a couple of teams to clear out, continue looting, and then prepare for the great journey to the first circle. Phase 2. After the first circle is closed in, you should have yourself at least a decent rifle with your preferences of attachments, a backpack, meds, and some ammo. At this point in the match, there's still a lot of real estate to roam, and in most matches you'll notice there are not enough players to fill most of the space. This is your chance to decide your own fate. Without the pressure of imminent death upon you, you should be thinking 2 to 3 circles ahead about where it could go and where you ought to be in order to give yourself the best positioning should the circle go your way. If you've seen one of those Star Wars movies, you'll know that the high ground certainly has its advantages and should be utilized as often as possible. In phase 2 of the match, if winning the match is your priority, then you need to ask yourself if what you're doing is getting you closer to reaching your goal, or is it risking you losing the match? Everyone wants to get kills, they are very satisfying and can be a great source of loot as someone has already done the work of gathering anything worth having in one spot. But every engagement you get in not only is a risk to you dying, but you risk depleting your resources such as armor, meds, ammo, and gadgets, which could otherwise be used later in the match to help you secure a win. In phase 2 of the match, you should only be engaging enemies if they are directly in your path of achieving an optimal position or getting into the next circle. Anything else is an unnecessary risk and should be avoided. Phase 3. If you've made it this far, you may have a couple kills under your belt depending on where you landed, and you might be hungry for more. I don't blame you. Who doesn't want to be able to send a screenshot of a 15 kill game to their friends and brag about how they dominated the server? Those games certainly happen when the stars align and you get all the equipment you need and come across some unsuspecting enemies. But now is the time to use dead silence and or awareness if you still have them in your inventory. As the last few circles come together, players are going to be closer together, and being able to at least be looking in the right direction before an enemy appears in your field of view is a great advantage to keep you in the game and hopefully protect some of your armor by not having to acknowledge an enemy after they've already started shooting at you. Finishing off a match can sometimes involve more strategy than skill. With just a couple teams remaining, they ultimately all need to die in order for you to win, but the order in which that happens can sometimes be within your control. Being the first to engage can mean that you get the jump on someone to secure a kill, but when in such close proximity, it does give away your position to all remaining players. Even with a silencer, it's fairly easy to tell where someone is if you're close enough. Coming in directly after an engagement of 2 other squads can allow you to clean up the rest of the fight while they might be healing, moving to the next circle, or simply reorienting themselves after a lengthy encounter. Especially at the end of a match when you're close to an enemy and there's less room to work with, if you've engaged and need to duck back behind cover to heal, it's always best to reposition yourself to a new location if you can before re-engaging, as someone is probably already aiming down the sights at your last known location before you step out. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed the video and were able to learn something, and hopefully have it translate over in game to more wins. Thanks.